We're live. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again on another session here on YouTube. My name is Chukwemeka Onyenizi, and I'm founder of the Naira Academy, and I'm happy to have you join us here today. Please, if you're joining us, this is your first time joining us, there's something we'll always do when we start, right? We share this class. All right. So please share this class among your contacts and get other people to come and learn because we want other people to be a part of this learning journey. Right. So please share the contact and bring on as much people as you can to join us to learn this afternoon. So welcome wherever you're joining us from. Thank you and welcome to this YouTube page where we get to learn about money. Right? So today we're going to be learning and we're going to be talking about your money blueprints. Right? Your money blueprints. How hidden beliefs shape and your wealth and how to rewire them. Okay? Your money blueprints, how hidden beliefs shape your wealth and how to rewire them. So, thank you for joining. So, I'll start with this question, and I want you to have a thought about this. Just think about it. Have you ever wondered why some people earn more, right? A lot more, but they still end up broke, right? While others bounce back even after losing millions. Have you ever wondered why? There are some people that once they miss it, they go broke. And there are people that no matter how many times they make the mistake, they are always able to come back and bounce back. We've seen that happen to quite some notable people that we all know. We've seen that happen to Donald Trump. We've seen that happen to Otedola, right? Then we're going to find out why this happens with some people and doesn't happen with some, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today because one thing that is responsible for that is what is in these people, right? One thing that is responsible to that is their money blueprints. The money blueprint, which is the hidden program in everyone's subconscious that controls our financial results. It determines everything about our finances, right? Because we all run on our subconscious minds. So today, we're going to uncover where your blueprint comes from, right? How it shapes your money story, and how you can reprogram it. So we'll find out how you can reprogram it. All right. But first, before we even get into money blueprints, right? Let's try to understand the power of our subconscious mind. See, understanding how your subconscious mind works will help you start the journey to rewire your money blueprints, right? We're not going to go through the rewire process here because that's exclusive to the Money Clique program, but we're going to give you tips and bits that will start you going. All right. Now, understanding the power of your subconscious mind. So, the truth about life is that it's not what is just believed that brings answers to us, right? So the answers that we get in life are to an extent the results of our subconscious mind or how our subconscious mind reacts or respond to the mental pictures or thoughts that are in our minds, right? So we have one mind, everyone, right? But your mind possesses two distinct characteristics. Your mind is divided into two, right? Into two by two distinct functions, the conscious and the subconscious mind, right? Or some people call it the voluntary and the involuntary mind. Some other scholars might also look at it as the objective and the subjective mind. Okay, so for us to understand, right, get ourselves acquainted with the two functions of our mind, right, then we would have to look at our mind as a garden, right? You're a gardener and you're planting seeds of thoughts, right, in your subconscious mind every day. Remember, your mind is the garden, you're the gardener, and you're planting the seeds. So, as you sow in your subconscious mind, so shall you reap in your body and your environment. So, your subconscious mind may be likened to the soil, which will grow any kind of seed, be it good or bad. Right? Be it good or bad. Your subconscious mind grows any kind of seeds. And that's the reason why you need to watch your thoughts. That's the reason why you need to be careful about what you think of, right? Because whatever you think of, whatever you plant in your thoughts is what your subconscious mind will grow. So you must be careful of what you think about. You must be careful of what you're thinking, right? You must be careful of what you sow in your subconscious. You need to become very intentional about what you sow in your subconscious mind. Okay, so every thought is a cause, and every condition is an effect. So it's very important that we take charge of our thoughts to bring forth only desired conditions, right? Again, this conscious mind, I always give this example. The conscious mind is like a navigator or a captain at the bridge of a ship. What the captain does is that he directs the ship, he signals orders to the men in the engine room, right? Who in turn control the boilers, the instruments, the gauges, everything, right? Now, the men in the engine room do not know where they are going. They can't see where they are going, right? What they do is they just follow orders. That's what they do. So they would hit a rock if the man on the bridge, who is the captain, issues a faulty order, right? If the man on the bridge decides that he is not going to see well, they might hit an iceberg. Okay? Now, the man on the bridge is the one that can see. He's the one that has a compass. He's the one that can see with sight visibly. So the men in the engine room obey him because he's in charge. Right? And any order that the captain issues are automatically obeyed. Automatically. See, members of the crew do not talk back at the captain. They simply just carry out orders. Right? So the captain is the master of the ship. And his decrees are carried out without questioning. Likewise, your subconscious mind is the captain and master of your ship, which represents your body and all the affairs of your body. So your subconscious mind takes orders that you give it based on your conscious mind beliefs, right? Based on what your conscious mind has accepted to be true. So when you repeatedly say things like, I can't afford it, I can't afford it, right? Your subconscious mind takes you at your word. And your subconscious mind sees to it that you will not be in a position to afford it. I hope somebody is getting me. So as long as you persist in saying, I can't afford that car, I can't afford that trip, right? I can't afford to invest, I can't afford to buy that asset, be rest assured that your subconscious mind will follow your orders, right? And you will go through life expecting lacking life experience, lacking things that you need. So you need to avoid speaking negative about your finances. You must avoid speaking negative. Very key. Very, very key that you avoid it. Very key. Because our subconscious mind takes the order that we give it without questioning. I don't know if this has happened to anybody, that before going to bed, you tell yourself that you want to wake up at a certain time, exactly that time. And exactly that time, you wake up. For example, you tell yourself, I want to wake up at 3 a.m. because I need to read, I need to do something by 3 a.m. And exactly 3 a.m., not later, you see yourself wake up. I don't know if that has happened to anybody. If you're in the comments, good afternoon or welcome, Ma. If you're here in the comment section and you've experienced that before, please just say, I've experienced it. That you've told yourself, I want to wake up by 6 a.m. I want to wake up by 7 a.m. At exactly that time, you find yourself wake up. If that has ever happened to you, please just say, I'm here. Or it has happened to me. Just say something in the comments if that has ever happened to you. I want to see those who have experienced this. I want to see those who have experienced this. If that has happened to you, let me know in the comments. Yes, okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So there are people who it has happened to. So I'm glad. I've seen comments from Esther Essel. I've seen comments from Onya Chukwemeka. They've experienced it before. And it happens. Yes. Uchenna Andrea is also saying it has happened to me. Yes. So it happens. So I'm glad there are people here who have testified that it happens to them. Right? That is your conscious mind speaking to your subconscious mind. There's a very interesting book we're reading in the Money Clique next year, and it's all about helping you understand how to use the power of your subconscious mind, how to influence your subconscious mind. It's key. It's key to achieving. Very, very, very key to achieving. Right? So there's a story about a young girl. So this young girl saw a nice handbag in the store and she loved it. Right? But when she saw the price tag, her heart sank. She didn't lose hope, right? But because she had become intentional about what she sees to her subconscious, right? When she was about to say, I can't afford it, she remembered the teachings, the things she has learned. And she recalled that she's not supposed to say, I can't, right? And then she reversed what she wanted to say, and she told herself, that handbag is mine, right? She told herself, I accept it mentally, and my subconscious should see to it that I receive it. And she ended it there. She just told herself, that handbag is mine. She didn't have the money. She wasn't hoping to get it. And she said it, and she left. On the evening of that same day, her fiancé presented her with a bag exactly the same as the one that she looked at. She didn't have the money, but she used the power of her mind. So a lot of us do not know how to use the power of our mind. But our mind, like I always say, your mind is the biggest tool in your arsenal. It's the biggest tool. So a few months ago, I listened to Coach Wendy, and she was narrating a story when she opened the family hub, right? And she said years ago that she kept telling her husband that she's going to buy a house on a certain street, on one particular street. Few years later, they were able to purchase a house on that same street. And that is where the family hub is situated. That is the power of your subconscious mind. That's the power of intentionally speaking to your subconscious mind. It's key what you say, right? It's key what you accept. It doesn't matter what your reality is. But what you accept is key. When you understand that, you also understand the power of faith. That's why I keep telling people, see, there is no wealth creation without faith. You need faith for you to create wealth, right? Because a lot about achieving, right, with money also has to do with faith, right? It has to do with not understanding that your mind has powers. Well, a lot of people would argue with that, but then it is people who do not understand. There are people who don't get it. There are people who don't know, right? Until they know, then they will come to understand. So you need to understand that your subconscious mind works non-stop to provide the needs and instructions of your conscious mind. So every day you're speaking. It doesn't matter if you're doing it intentionally or not, but your conscious mind is taking notes. Your daughter comes today and asks you, Mommy, I need money for this. You say, I don't have it. I can't afford that thing. I'm not saying you should give your children everything they ask for, right? But there are other ways that you can respond to them without saying you don't have it, right? You could tell them it is not in our budget, right? You could tell them we'll plan for it as if we've not planned for it before now. But do not accept in yourself that you just don't have it, because your subconscious mind is taking notes, right? Rather, what you should do is to speak more positive. Speak more positive to your subconscious mind. Tell yourself, oh, we will get it at the appointed time. When the time is right, we will get it. And get it, you will, right? And that brings us to the topic of the day, which is your money blueprint, right? One thing about money is that, like I say, in the Naira Academy, I teach money from a perspective that no other person does. No other person does. The fact is that we live in a world of duality, right? Everything has an opposite end in the world. We have up and down, we have light and dark, we have in and out, fast and slow, left and right? Just to mention a few. Okay? So many, we have so many poles that exist at the opposite of the other pole. So you can't have a right side without a left side. So consequently, when it comes to money, there are inner laws of money and there are outer laws of money. The truth is, most people who teach money only focus on the outer laws of money. That's why people are just concerned about, oh, just invest, right? Now, I choose to go a different route because I've come to understand that the products that you see outside is as a result of what has happened inside, right? Because the roots determine the fruits. Because it is what happens on the software that determines the printouts. Okay? So there's an outer law of money and there are inner laws of money. So the outer law are the things that we come to see every day. Business knowledge, money management. I teach them here too. Investment strategies, right? See, they are essential, but the inner game is also very important. It's also very important, right? See, let's imagine a carpenter or a sculptor and his tools, right? Having the best carpentry tools is essential, right? But being a top-notch carpenter who masterfully knows how to use his tools is even more critical. It's even more critical. So what helps him to be a master at using those tools? It is what he has in his inside. It is the skills that he has, right? So one question that we need to ask ourselves every time when it comes to money, we need to ask ourselves who we are. We need to ask ourselves what we truly feel about wealth, right? Because the truth is that your character, your thinking, your beliefs are all critical part of what determines your success. They're all part of what determines your success. So your money blueprint is your inner workings of money. They are your inner workings of money. Right? They are inner workings of money. It's like a thermostat. Your blueprint is like a thermostat, right? That when the temperature in the room is increases, the thermostat would reset it, right? It will bring the temperature to where it's supposed to be, to what it has been set at. To what it has been set at. Now, your money blueprint, like I said earlier, is your inner conditions about money. That's your money blueprint. Everybody, each of us have a personal money blueprint. Each of us have a success blueprint, right? And that blueprint, more than anything, will determine your financial destiny. So your blueprint is that preset program, right, that you have in relation with money. The same way that you have a blueprint for a house, right? The same way you have a blueprint for any projects that you want to achieve, right? You have also a blueprint, a programming that has been embedded in your subconscious for money. And your blueprint consists of a combination of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions about money. And each of us, everybody has one. Right? So there are three ways that our blueprints have been conditioned. And most of the conditioning of our blueprints, most of the conditioning happened when we were little, when we were children. Right? The first conditioning is verbal programming. Right? What we heard, the things that were said that we heard, is the number one thing that has come to form who we are today with money. The things we heard, right? For example, some people grew up hearing things like money is the root of all evil, right? Some people grew up hearing things like we can't afford it, right? So all those things that they've heard have come to shape today who they are. It has come to shape how they relate with money, right? It has come to make them who they are today with money. It has formed their money relationship. I give you a typical story about this, and I've told this story a number of times, right? About a young man who was earning very well, over $800,000 a year, right? And he has earned that for 9 years, but yet he couldn't get by. Yet somehow he managed to spend everything that he had. He managed to lose it. And at the end of every year, he was back to zero. Every year. But he was earning well, right? But at some point, he realized that he had a problem. But what was his problem? The problem he had was his money blueprint. And how did his money blueprint come about? It came about verbal conditioning. What his mother told him while he was growing up. Right? He was verbally conditioned not to keep money. He was verbally conditioned not to keep money. So this young man's mother believed that rich people are greedy. So every day she said it. She echoed it in the house that rich people are greedy. That rich people make money from the poor. That the only thing you need in this life is enough to get by. After that, you're just a pig if you need more than enough to get by. Right? Now, you can imagine, you can now see why this young man was how he was with money. Right? He was verbally conditioned by his mother to believe that rich people were greedy. So, he couldn't be rich. Even though he had the opportunity to be rich. Because his mind has linked up rich with greedy. Right? And which is bad. And since he didn't want to be bad, he subconsciously couldn't be rich. His mother disapproved riches, and somehow that affected him. That formed his relationship with money. So that is one way that we get to be conditioned. That is one way our blueprint gets to be conditioned, by the things that we heard. Another way is by the things we saw. By the things we saw, modeling. The things we saw our parents do. The things that we saw our parents do formed how we get to do things today. I always tell the story of a woman. A man saw that before the wife cooks corn, right? The wife would break the corn into two to cook it. So the man asked, why do you have to break the corn into two? You can cook it as whole. And the woman said, that was how my mother cooked it. So they called the mother and asked her now, Mom, why is it that you have to break the corn before you cook it? And the mother said that it's because that was the way her own mother, which is the woman's grandmother, cooked it. So they put a call across to grandma and asked grandma, why do you have to break the corn before you cook it? And grandma said, simply because her pot was too small. Now, her pot was too small. That's the reason why she broke the corn. Now, 2 generations after her continued breaking that corn even without knowing the reason why. Without knowing why. That is the power of modeling. So there are a lot of things that you saw your parents do with money that you do not even know why. You watched them do it, you learnt it, and you're doing it today. A lot of people today who are not good managers of money is because of what they saw their parents do. If you're terrible with money, look at one of your parents, or even both of them, then you see the reason why you don't manage money properly. If you're consistently in debt, look at your parents. Think about the things you had growing up. Then you might see the reason why you're always in debt. Why? Because our environments shape us. If you grew up in an environment where borrowing is normal, where getting into debt is normal, then you will continue that cycle. Right? If you have parents that they all borrowed for almost everything, you will see borrowing as a normal thing and you will keep on borrowing. If you had parents who were very prudent investors, you will see that you'll be likened to invest more. If you had parents who were prudent with money, then you will see that you will be drawn to be more prudent with money because that is what you saw. See, every child is born as an empty book, right? It is what the child gets to learn that forms who he or she becomes. And what they learn most times come as a result of what has been modeled to them, right? What has been modeled by their parents. Children learn a lot by watching. Children learn a lot by what they saw their parents do, right? They learn a lot from it. And that determines who they became as adults. Yet, Mrs. Emily, Sarah said, I heard I don't have money. Yes. So, and I don't have money can affect you. Hearing that from your parents, hearing that from people around you can affect how you get to relate with money. Watching your parents do what they do with money would determine who you became in relation to money as an adult. And that's why it's very important what you do in front of your children, because they are watching you keenly. They are watching you. Children learn more from what they see you do than even what you tell them to do, right? So they are watching you. When you buy, they are watching you buy. When you spend, they are watching you spend. When you invest, they are watching you invest. It can be unfortunate sometimes that parents only show their children what they think they should, which sometimes is wrong. Sometimes we only show them the spending part. We don't show them the investing part. So in their minds, that's why sometimes people come and say, oh, my father was also an investor. I don't know what happened to me. But if you check well, most times when parents are investing, they're not telling their children because they feel they shouldn't know. Oh, they shouldn't know we just bought a house. Oh, they shouldn't know we have stocks, right? But they know when you go to the supermarket and you spend money. They know when you just buy things. So what are you doing? What you're doing is that you're only modeling spending to them. You're only telling them that the only thing that you can do with money is to spend, right? So it's key what we model to our children. If you look back at your own life as a child growing up and the mistakes your parents made, then you will see the need to change things, right? You see the need to change things. And for the people that on when it comes to modeling as well, there's another category of people who are there, right? They are the category of people. They are the category of people who are rebellious. Rebellious in the sense that probably their parents were poor, and they decided that I will never be poor. I won't be poor. Now, it's okay for you to make such resolutions, but when you have pain and anger as part of it, right, then it becomes more difficult. When there's pain and anger infused into it, then you would always look at money and pain as the same thing. And when you feel like your pain has become too much, then you give away your money, thinking that that will take away your pain. I'm going to give you a true life story, right? So a woman got married and she was doing quite well, right? And she continued doing well even while being married, right? Then at some point, the husband felt intimidated by her money. The husband felt that, that was what she felt. She felt her husband felt it was about her money. She felt her husband felt that, oh, you're making more money and it's making you not be a good wife. And what happened? She, and this is somebody also who grew up from a very rough background, who grew up very poor, right? And she has always wanted to make money. So when that came from the husband, she felt she was having too many issues with the husband, right? And she decided to stop doing all that work, to do nothing. Eventually, what happened? She stopped working, the money stopped coming in, but the issue persisted, right? But because of her conditioning, she felt that the reason why she experienced pain in her marriage was because of the money. Why? Because of the way that she saw money growing up. Because she became a rebellion that's in the sense, in the non-healthy way. Because the root of her money, the root of her wealth, the motivation for her to make money was anger and resentment because of what happened in her childhood. So she linked up her anger, she linked up her pain and everything, right, to money. She let go of the money, but the issues did not go away, right? She let go of the money. Her husband too also had similar issues. The money went, but at the same time, the husband's issues didn't stop. And eventually, there was a divorce, unfortunately. Right? So, what I'm trying to tell us here today is when you link, if your money is coming from a point of resentment, if you're chasing money with anger, thinking that you will become free of it as a result of things that happened to your childhood, then you're getting it wrong. You need to learn how to let go of the anger. We have a course in the Naira Academy, Healing from Financial Trauma. You need to understand how to heal from your trauma so that you stop linking up your money with pain. Okay, yes, so I see more comments. Constance says, oh, it's so true. My dad was a businessman, but never taught us entrepreneurship, but had Omo boys that he trained, and it's affecting I and my siblings. Yes, and that happened. And it's still happening to you today. It's still happening to you today. Someone met me years ago, about 2 years ago, and the person told me a similar story. Now, what happened? What happened was that, and it's still happening, it's not even a past story. So this person The husband has a booming business here in Nigeria, very good booming business, right? And then she decided that she was going to relocate abroad with the children and live in the UK. Now, at that point when she came to me, she was having regrets that she feels that if anything happens to the husband, the business will fall because nobody in her family, apart from the husband, really understands the nitty-gritty of the business. Right? So if anything should happen, the children have no knowledge of the business. So it's very important that, but this same person might still have Omo boy that work for them. So for those who are not Nigerians that are here, so in Nigeria, in the Igbo extraction part of Nigeria, the southeast part of Nigeria, we have an apprenticeship system, right? Called Omo boy. Just to give more context to what Mrs. Constance is trying to tell us here. We have people called Omo boy, right? Omo boy are apprentices to a big trader, right? So a trader takes on Omo boy, they serve him for years, they learn under him, and he gets to settle them to start their own business. Now, in most cases, just like I wrote in my book, Raising Financially Literate Children, one of the mistakes that people make is that who they get to train are actually their Omo boy and not their children. Because the mistake that they made was thinking that all their children needed to survive was just formal education. So they insisted that the children concentrate on formal education, while the Umu boy learned the nitty-gritties of the business. Now, the Umu boy, when he came to money making, had an upper hand, and they still have an upper hand. And that's exactly what is happening to you today. Because a lot of people have not come to understand it. Right? So Omo boy are having an advantage over the children of people who own the businesses. And it's something that we need to change. Yes, it's good to train the Omo boy, but also train your children. It's funny how growing up I saw things like this, because I grew up in the southeast, and I saw things like this, and Omo boy were seen like, people who just had to, do their hard tasks. But those hard tasks were the things that shaped them into who they became. So we need to be more intentional about what we model to our children, what we make them do. Like I say, during holidays, if you have a business, bring your children into the business, let them learn what you're doing, right? So that you don't just give your knowledge out to outsiders alone, while your children lose out. Yes, Emily Sarah said, our daughters are 5 and 3. We bought them piggy banks. We'll be teaching savings. Now, when we give them coins or find anything around the house, they run to drop them in their piggy banks. Oh, great, great. Now, they are building the habit of saving. They are building the habit of saving. Well done, ma. Emily Sarah Gonomo. Well done. They are building that habit. Now they're building the habit of saving. They are getting to understand that everything we do with money is a habit. And that's why it's difficult for some people to break away, right? When we talk about our subconscious minds, what do our subconscious minds really work on? What does it run on? It runs also on our habits, on patterns that have come to become habits, right? So it's key that we start early. Teach them to use piggy banks, right? And also, very more importantly, like I wrote in my book, teach them what to do with the money in the piggy banks. It's key that they also understand what to do with the money in the piggy banks. Most times we teach the piggy bank and we stop there. So when they bring out the money from the piggy banks, they spend. And that's why you see adults today who think their saving is for spending, who think their saving is just to bring it all out and spend everything. No. They need to understand also that their saving is for investing, right? Their saving is for investing. Thank you very much, Ma, and thank you. Okay, all right. Now, the third thing that forms our blueprint, right? Or the third way that our money blueprint is formed is from specific events. What you experience, especially growing up, what you experience growing up, right, is very key. So somebody in the Money Clique program told a story of how they grew up, in Festac, right? They had it all well, and the father was working in the bank, So things were good, right? And then all of a sudden, something happened and he lost his job. They had to move from Festac to a low income area in Lagos, right? The father tried to do some investments and it failed. And that created her blueprint. And what was that blueprint? It infused some form of trauma in her money story. She was afraid to invest. So all she did was save, 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 and save her money. Why? Because of the fear of what happened to her dad. Because there was also the fear of what happened to her dad, she was afraid to invest because she felt, I don't want to lose my money like my dad lost her money, right? So it affected her in that way. Somebody has also told stories. A lot of people have told a lot of stories in the Money Clique program. Maybe we'll publish some of these stories to help other people learn at some point, right? Someone also told a story of how the father had a big business, right? And the business caught fire, burnt, uninsured. Um, the father still had some money, decided to go get into transport business. He tried and it failed. That also created a fear of investing in her. And a lot of us have different stories like this. A lot of us have several things that we got to experience as children that is holding us back today, right? Holding us back from investing. Okay, so because like I said earlier, money is not just about the outer parts, they are the inner workings of money, right? So if you're not investing, if you find yourself that you're never moved to plan for the future, you never moved to prepare better for the future, then you need to look at your past, right? You need to look at things that you experienced. It might be that you still are struggling with financial trauma as a result of specific incidents that happened in your past, right? You need to look at them and begin to change them, right? Taking courses like Healing from Financial Trauma would get you on the path to start rewiring, right? Rewiring for better progress. Okay, so it's very, 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 very important that we understand that you not doing the things you're supposed to do, regardless of what you have learned, might just be that there's something internal that is stopping you. That's why I say that I teach money from a perspective that most people prefer not to, or most people do not. Because most people will prefer to just talk about saying go and invest. But I've come to think of it. One time I asked to ask myself, the message of investing is out there, it's everywhere. People are hearing it. What's keeping them from investing? And that's what made me start researching about the inner workings of money. There's something keeping people away. There's something holding you back, right? And until you sort out that thing that is holding you back, until you take it away, then it will still keep holding you back. So you need to take it away so that the knowledge that you have will work for you. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. So your money blueprint matters a lot. It matters a lot, right? Because money blueprint mismatch, like I is the cause for money fights in marriages. Sometimes it's not money itself that cause fights in marriages, right? But it's the difference in blueprints. One person feels like we should spend money on something like this, and the person feels like we shouldn't spend money on something like this, and there's a clash. Somebody feels it's okay to use money to buy a luxury car. The other person feels no, we shouldn't use money to do things like this, and they clash. It's not the money that is causing the fights, it's the difference in their blueprints. One person feels money should be handled prudently. The other person feels, why should you always restrict me from using money the way I want it? Is money not for enjoyment? Why is it that you don't like to enjoy yourself with money? Why is it like you like to suppress, enjoying yourself? Why do you like suffering too much? That is their different blueprints clashing. So blueprint mismatch can cause a lot of fights in marriages. And that's why I always tell people, especially people who are yet to get married, that marriage is not just about love. Marriage is a financial decision. Who you choose to marry is a financial decision. right? You need people, singles who are about to get married, need to also sit down and talk about their money blueprints, right? They need to sit down. Where they have mismatch, then they need to come together themselves and agree on how they will sort that out and how they will come to a middle point, right? So if they agree on how to begin to educate themselves, it might be that one person is reckless and the other person is not. Then you understand that one person needs financial education, right? And the both of you can just get into it and get on board the Money Clique program and start educating yourselves about money. But it's important that you are on the same page financially before you get married. It's very, very, very key. Or else there will be clashes. Or else there will be clashes, right? Most of the time, I speak with Coach Kule, who is a marriage counselor and the founder of the Marriage Soul Academy. And he will tell me sometimes one of the biggest issues in marriages is finance. In finance. And from also what I've come to see, it is not just the money itself, but the blueprint, right? So also another thing why the blueprint is important is that your blueprint to determine your blueprint is you, right? And you remember money, we say that money is only a result of you, right? Money is a result, is an output. Money is nothing more than just an output. All right. So when some people lose money, it is not because they have bad luck, right? It is because of their inner programming about money. For example, statistics has is that most lottery winners lose their money within the first 3 years of winning lottery. It is not because they had bad luck with money. It is because of their inner programming about money. It's because they do not understand what they're supposed to do with money. It's because of the way they are wired to handle money, right? And I've also given example of people who have come to lose money but came back to their feet because of also their different kinds of programming. Donald Trump is one of them, right? Temi Otodola is one of them. People have lost it and they built themselves back. Why? Because it's not just about the money, but what you have inside of you, right? The roots create the fruits, like I always say. Okay, so if you want to change your money story, one of the things that you need to do, apart from gaining more knowledge, right, is to try to change your roots. Okay, you need to work on your roots. The invisible controls what is visible, right? You can't want to change the typo error on the paper and you use eraser of the paper, right? That doesn't change it, right? What you need to do is to work on the software, on the computer, right? The software is where you go erase, clean, and you print again, right? Cleaning what is on the paper doesn't change what is on the program, on the software, on the computer. Until you change what is on the software, you will keep printing out the error each time you print again, right? All right. And if you want to keep printing the error and keep changing, then it means that you keep making the mistake and you keep trying to correct your mistakes, right? But if you want to stop making the mistakes, then you need to work on you, all right? So money is never a problem. And that's the reason why when people come and say, the solution to no money is more money. People say it a lot. The solution to no money is more money. The solution to this is more money. No, money is not the problem. So it is not a solution. It's not your solution. The problem and the solution is you. Money is just a result. So if you is sorted, more money will come. If you is not sorted, you would have less money, right? The result will be clear, right? So now, how do we reprogram our money blueprint? So there are 5 steps in reprogramming your money blueprint, and it's a journey. Reprogramming your money blueprint is not a one-day thing. So imagine that it has taken you, if you're 40 years, it's like taking you 40 years to get to where you are, right? To come to where you are today. If you are for 30 years, it's taking you 30 years to form all the habits and the beliefs you have about money today. So it's not going to take you one day, 1 month, 1 year to change all that belief. To not take you 2 years even, right? To reprogram your blueprint, it will also take time, right? At least 3 years for you to reprogram your blueprint. But what is most important is that you first get on the journey, right? Because today is already late, right? Yesterday is already late, so you need to start now. Okay, so the first step is awareness, right? You need to identify what you've heard. You need to identify the things that you saw. You need to identify the things that you experienced about money. The second is understanding. The third is dissociation. The fourth is reconditioning. And the fifth is declaration, right? I hear a lot of people. I saw someone one day. I was scrolling through the internet, and the person said, "Forget about financial affirmations and just go on and do what you have to do." And I laughed, right? People do not understand. People who don't know do not know. But you see, declarations and affirmations are key to reprogramming your mindset. If what has formed your blueprint today are the things that you heard, then you need to speak yourself out of the things that you heard. You need to speak to your subconscious for your subconscious to keep away that which is already new and start imbibing what you say today again, right? You need to start telling yourself, what I heard about money isn't true, right? I choose to create new ways of thinking. If what you heard always was, I don't have money, start telling yourself, I have money. If what you've been saying all this while is, I don't have money, start saying, I have money, I have money, I have money. See, declaration is not just mere speaking. It is you speaking to your subconscious. It is you following the laws of auto-suggestion, right? That is part of what we teach in the Money Clique program, right? We're coming to the Money Clique program and you will get to understand better all those things that I'm telling you now. You get to understand better why words carry energy, right? You get to understand better why declarations rewire your subconscious mind, right? Because you get to understand how your outer world flows from your inner world, right? You will get to understand how to reset your financial thermostat, right? That will bring you a lasting change. Okay, so if today's video opened your eyes about money blueprints, right? Don't just stop here, right? You need to take the next step. And taking the next step is, first, I want you to hit the subscribe button, right? Turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos on money and mindset in the future, right? Secondly, I would love to hear from you, right? Remember, we said that the first step is awareness, right? And awareness is not complete until you put it down in writing. So I want to hear from you. What's one money belief that you grew up with that you're not questioning, right? If you're live here on this on YouTube right now, put it in the comments. If you're going to watch this later, still put it in the comments. I would like to see that, right? What is one money belief that you grew up with that you're questioning now? Drop it in the comments because your story can inspire someone. I'm going to type it and put it right now in the comments so that you can see that, right? So there it is in the comments. There it is in the comments, and also showing on the screen, right? So tell us, what is one money belief you grew up with that you're questioning now? We want you to drop it in the comments, all right? And if you're ready to go deeper, right? Not just to understand your money blueprints, because understanding your money blueprint is just the starting point, right? But to actually reprogram it, then I invite you to join us inside the Money Clique program, right? It's a safe community where we walk step by step through breaking limiting patterns, where we build world habits and we stay consistent on our financial journey, right? So your financial future is not fixed. If it's not the way you want it, you can rewrite it. And it starts with the choice that you make today. If you're already in the Money Clique program, then ensure that you stay put, right? Stay put until it becomes a part of you. Stay put until you see that lasting change that you need, right? This is where you need to be. Okay, this is where you need to be. The link to join the Money Clique program, if you're not in already, will be in the description of this video, right? So join us and let's begin this journey together. My name remains Chukwemeka Onyenizi, and I'm the founder of the Naira Academy, and I'm glad to be your money coach. So I'm going to see you next time. That will be next week, exactly the same time, 12 o'clock every Thursday is our YouTube live sessions, and 12 o'clock Wednesdays is our Instagram and Facebook live sessions. You do not want to miss it at all. And every second Sundays of the month is our master classes in the Money Clique program. You need to be in the clique. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope to see more of your comments about your blueprint in the comments. Thank you very much, Onya, for sharing. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye. Oh, I see. Just before I go, I just saw a comment now from Mrs. Constance says, I'm already in the Naira Academy. I will unbox you my testimony. I am waiting for that testimony, man. I can't wait to see it. And hopefully, yes, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone. See you next week.